Ladies and gentlemen, happy Super Bowl Sunday to all of you. The Rob Brown Show, Lonzo on Word, Marc Ryan on Air, all of us getting together and playing with this brand new fun technology here as we get set for the Chiefs and the Buccaneers just a few hours away. Looking forward to talking with all of you guys, and we just wanted to do something a little special here on Super Bowl Sunday. If you did not know, courtesy of Lonzo's Headwear, your Kansas City Chiefs are looking to defend their Super Bowl championship. The ageless one himself, the GOAT, so far, Thomas Christopher Brady, looking to take that crown away from Patrick Mahomes. Fellas, happy Sunday. Good to see you guys bright, shiny, and in from the snow. And before we start talking football, what in the hell was that last night? What happened? What in the hell was that?
All I can say is I warned you about. I mean, it happens every once in a while. I was on the air watching it fall, and it was nice slushy snow too. And so there were accidents on my way home, as I knew there would be, because people here, they don't know how to drive in it. I'm sure Mark doesn't know how to drive in it. You may not know how to drive in it either.
We'll ignore the 3 times I skidded into the other lane yesterday. I was like, whoa, I've got to get home real fast. The brakes don't like to work in this stuff, man. They really don't like to work very well.
So let me tell you guys what happened. Yesterday, I decided to take a little tour. I went up to Chimney Rock, which is one of my favorite places up in North Carolina. And while I was in Chimney Rock, all the people there said, oh, it might snow, but it's going to be tonight. And I looked up on my phone, and it said there are light flurries in Asheville. So I thought, well, it's only like 25, 30 minutes from there. I'll go up to Asheville just to see the light snow flurries. On the way back from Asheville, look, I don't know that I can say definitively it was a blizzard, but behind the wheel on the interstate, it damn sure felt that way. I got back into Greenville, and I'm watching an army of Toyota Corollas that are just sideways spinning into mailboxes and whatnot. That was the most ridiculous thing. And for what I've been told, and Mark, I know you've been here a couple of years now, so you're still filling it out as though you've been here a while. That was, I guess, like an almost unprecedented weather event in the upstate.
No. As a matter of fact, it did the exact same thing. This is going to blow your mind. You guys wearing socks? I'm about to blow them off. You ready for this? It did the exact same freaking thing the day before the Super Bowl last year. It was eerie. Like, if you go back, Lonzo, do you remember this? The day before the Super Bowl last year, it snowed everywhere. And then just like it was last year, like 2 p.m. in the afternoon, it's all gone. I have never seen anything like that before in my life, even down to the day, like the day before the Super Bowl. The night before the Super Bowl, it snowed overnight into the morning. And here we are again. It happens one time a year. I think it's Mother Nature celebrating the fact that we're about to get the greatest football game of all time. And there we go.
All right, well, let's jump. Go ahead, Zoe.
I was going to say, yeah, it absolutely happens once a year. Every once in a while, it'll skip a year, which I'm pretty happy about because I hate snow with all my being. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm here is because there's no snow. So when there is snow and everyone is celebrating, I'm like, what's wrong with you people? But it was pretty cool. I was on the air last night and had people sending in reports telling me where the snow was. And so you can pretty much pinpoint the circle of where the snow was. And because of the I-85 corridor and where we are in the mountains, we usually get it once a year, and nothing down here where I'm at. So I can literally drive from the snow into the rain. It's you can see the veil of snow change to rain as I got further south.
Yeah, it was.
There were some thick chunks falling too. Like, yeah, there were. These, you know how I make fun of you guys and I call you guys snowflakes because you are. These weren't the kind of snowflakes that I call you guys. These were like chunks landed on your face. It was unbelievable.
I would like to argue I have been called chunk many times in my life. All right, so a second ago, Mark, you called this the greatest football game ever. And obviously I know that everybody's in on the narrative of, is Brady the greatest of all time? Is Patrick Mahomes going to take that mantle from him? Zoe and I had a lot of discussions this week about whether or not it was maybe too early to start including Mahomes into that discussion. Mark, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Lonzo. What does this game mean for the legacy of Patrick Mahomes? What does this game mean for the legacy of Tom Brady?
It's the greatest game that's ever been played that's going to happen today, Rob, for this very reason. It is the undisputed GOAT in the NFL. And Lonzo better have come around to that viewpoint at this point. And versus the only guy that could potentially overtake him. So throughout the history of the game, the only guy that could potentially overtake the current GOAT is the guy that's playing. And I think it's fascinating to think about, 20 years from now, 20 years from right now, will it be Brady or Mahomes that's viewed as the GOAT? And will the game today have been the deciding factor? I can't even tell you how fascinated I am by that.
Let me interrupt you guys for just a second. Hello, Silver. Hi.
Are we about to get a special guest? Is that what's happening?
No. If she is not acknowledged, she will stand at the door and say, "Hey, Papa," for 20 minutes straight. So she's good now. She's good now. As to what Mark was saying, I still will not say that Brady is the greatest of all time. I acknowledge that other people do. And greatest of all time so far, I'm still going to go with as a possibility. But this passing the torch thing, I'm not down with that yet. Mahomes hasn't played long enough to take a torch from anybody. He's an awesome player. He might be the best quarterback in the league right now. Of course, Aaron Rodgers may have something to say about that, but I can't put someone in that category after they've only played a couple years. Hopefully 5 years from now, I can say undisputed without a doubt, he is the best. He's won 8 Super Bowls in a row. That would be awesome. Well, that would be 7 by then, but still, can't do that yet.
Yeah, I think that I kind of fall somewhere in the middle. I do think Tom Brady is the GOAT, and we can put the GOAT so far moniker on the back of it, and I'm good with that. I think he is the GOAT, but I think this game is infinitely important to Patrick Mahomes because if he wants to catch Brady, he has to win today, right? If Brady gets his 7th ring in 10 efforts, that's an incredible performance. And on top of that, if Brady beats Mahomes, he takes one of the years of Mahomes' prime career out of play, right? I mean, Mahomes right now is hitting his stride. And if Brady beats him, that's one less year that Patrick Mahomes has in the prime of his career to catch Brady, who will have extended his lead. So I'm with Zoe on one hand in that it is too early to start saying that Mahomes is in the GOAT discussion, Mark Ryan. But if he is going to be in the GOAT discussion 5-6 years down the road, he has to win today to give himself a chance.
Yeah, but I also don't think, Rob, it's like, if Brady wins 7 and Mahomes wins 5, Mahomes could still be regarded as the GOAT 20 years from now. I don't think that's the end-all, be-all, although I do believe that Brady going to his 10th Super Bowl, I think that's the most amazing accomplishment in sports. Now, you say, well, LeBron made it to 10 Super Bowls. Well, 10 NBA Finals. Totally different sport where one player changes everything. I think it was incredible that if you consider the dynamic entering this year, we got to see Bill Belichick with an average quarterback, and we got to see Tom Brady with an average team. And we have a clear and decisive victor at who was more responsible for that entire dynasty in New England right now. Make no mistake about it, both of you, Tampa Bay was and is an average team. They had all these guys on the roster 2 years ago. They had them on the roster last year. They were 5-11. They were 7-9. Now, Gronk is on this team. He's at a minimal impact. Antonio Brown is on this team. Has he even played in the playoffs? So the reality is this team, these guys, okay, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, the offensive line, this was a mediocre football team. And Tom Brady, in 6 months, completely changed the losing culture. It's incredible.
I would like to point out that a minute ago, when you were talking about Braun going to 10, you said one player can change everything. It's a different sport. And then immediately went to Brady and saying one player changed everything. But I agree with you in defense of Tom Brady. That's why Brady is the GOAT to me. This dude showed up to a Tampa team that for the past couple of years, and I feel the same way about Atlanta. He could have done the same thing in Atlanta, a team that had, to me, zero excuses not to be an NFC South contender for the past 4 or 5 years, and they just couldn't cross the hill, Lonzo. and Brady shows up and they do. I know that a lot of people are going to be hesitant to give all of the credit to Brady for doing that, but he's the biggest variable in that equation, Lonzo.
He absolutely is the biggest variable, and one player. You just made the case that one player can make a difference. You said in basketball, like it's a different sport, but Brady is one player. He went there and he made a difference. But I disagree that Tampa Bay is an average team. Brady picked them on purpose because he knew how good they were and what he could do when he got there. He also knew how weak the division was, except for the Saints. He knew how weak the division was and knew that he would have a shot to do something there. I don't think Tampa Bay is or ever has been this year average. The receivers are too good. The defense is playing really, really well. And yeah, as of late, they're playing really well, but they're playing well. I'm not so sure if Tom Brady would have went to the other choices, would he have done as well? And I don't think so. I think this team was made for him. I think Arians said, here, you do whatever offense you want to do. That's fine. Other coaches may not have done that. Arians is he's just like, I don't know. He's the cheerleader, because is he really coaching? Because Brady's doing it.
So you are what your record is, and the Buccaneers were 12-20 the last 2 years. There's no disputing, Lonzo. There were talented players on that roster, but you are what your record says you are. You can go down the list in any sport and find teams that have, man, you look at the New Orleans Pelicans, for example, and you say, man, that is a talented team. You are what your record says you are. Tom Brady took the island of misfit toys to the Super Bowl, and that's what he did. Now, to the point about, LeBron and one player can change the sport of basketball, that's why it's so unbelievable what Brady has done. Because he has changed a culture of 53 men, not five on the court, 53 guys in a year, and he's brought them here. Now, you remember December 6th, they were 7-5. Now they're 14-5. Something clicked. They all got on the same page at that moment, and boy, has this been a beautiful thing to see.
Rob and I have had this discussion. The same people who think that Brady is the greatest of all time don't say the same thing about LeBron. Same amount of championships, all that. Now, Brady is one more. But LeBron will have gone to 10, right? I believe it's 10. How come the argument doesn't apply with LeBron and it does with Brady?
Two words, Lonzo. Michael Jordan. Okay, that's it. That's it.
Michael Jordan, and more is becoming an afterthought to the kids today. They never saw him play. They've only seen LeBron play, and there will come a time where kids will have not seen Brady play and will have only seen Mahomes play.
But guess what the kids are saying, Lonzo? They are saying, and this is something that has become part of the lexicon in sports. You say, you are the Jordan of this sport, right? Usain Bolt is the Michael Jordan of track and field. He is the only person about which we say that in all of sports. And so that is what LeBron did. Guys, LeBron James is unbelievable. And what he showed me this last year, taking the Lakers to the finals, Lonzo will tell you this, I didn't think they had a snowball's chance in hell, right? It's unbelievable. He's right there. He's right there. It's Jordan and LeBron. But, I don't know. Brady, to be able to do that on a team of 53 guys 10 times, with you being the principal reason why you're there, mind blowing.
So let's talk about Patrick Mahomes and where he stands to gain in this game. If Mahomes is able to knock off Brady, and we talked about the fact that if he doesn't, he'll lose a year of his prime. If he does, or if he doesn't, then Brady obviously will extend that lead and further cement the argument for the GOAT. But if Mahomes goes out here and wins this game because he's the MVP, because Mahomes is the catalyst behind all of this, what does that do for the legacy of Patrick Mahomes moving forward? 3 years in the league, first year AFC Championship appearance, second year wins the Super Bowl, third year wins the Super Bowl. The guy's in 3 years and has already had more success than Aaron Rodgers, already had more success than Drew Brees, is right there gaining on Peyton Manning. What does this do for Patrick Mahomes, especially being so early in his career, if he outduels? I'm not talking about the Chiefs win and Mahomes has an average day, but if Mahomes goes out there and clearly wins the MVP, what does this do for his legacy?
Lonzo, you've got your Chiefs have The most, and I would ask you, Rob, as a sidebar, and Lonzo, the most amazing attribute of Patrick Mahomes, I think it's his brain. Guys, I think we're dealing with one of those savant kids that you saw walking on a college campus when they were 11. You know, hey, who doesn't belong here? Oh, it's one of the savant kids. I think you're looking at Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting. I think when he looks at a defense after the snap, it reads in his brain like the Terminator screen viewed enemies. 27% over here, 63% over there. That's how he sees the game. And you can see that he sees the game that way when he cycles through his different options. This dude is a surgeon, first player in NFL history to start 2 Super Bowls by the age of 25. But again, what we've seen in NFL history, both recent and present, is that you need the head coach and quarterback combination, right? Andy Reid finally found his golden ticket, right? Just like Belichick found his golden ticket with Brady. And this is something magical to see. It really is.
All right. As far as what this means for Patrick Mahomes, I think he's treating it just as the next game. There was early on in his career, this is kind of funny to say, seeing as how his career is so early. The first time he played Brady, he was nervous. You could tell. That very first half, he made all kinds of mistakes. He came out in the second half, and he's not nervous anymore. So he's not scared to play Brady anymore. And correct me if I'm wrong, they're 2-2 right now.
2-2.
So they're 2-2 now. So there's not going to be that fear. If indeed he considers him the greatest of all time, which he might, there's not going to be that fear anymore. He's just going to go out there and play the game that he needs to play. I think Mahomes' biggest deal right now is worried about his toe.
Yeah, and then we haven't talked about it. We're going to circle into injuries and some of the different factors. The Chiefs playing without their starting 2 offensive tackles. But as far as Mahomes goes, Mark Ryan, I think you nailed it, right? It's crazy because whenever we think of cerebral quarterbacks that win with the brain, we think of Breeze, we think of Brady. We don't think of guys that are paired with the athleticism to get outside the pocket and extend plays. Mahomes is in a very rare breed of guys that have both, right? I mean, we think about a guy like Lamar Jackson, and Lamar is an incredibly athletic quarterback, but we also have questioned some of the decisions of Lamar Jackson, which is why the Ravens got bounced early this year. Patrick Mahomes is that kid that has both. I think you absolutely nailed it. And today is his day that he gets a chance to really prove that against Tampa Bay. We know that Tampa Bay's defensive line has been arguably the best defensive line in the playoffs. They didn't really show up all that often during the regular season, but they have had a renaissance themselves in the postseason. Mahomes is going to have to find ways to not just extend plays, but to really break down the way that he is being attacked by Tampa Bay's defensive line and still make plays down the field. He utilizes his tight end as well as anybody in the league, I would argue, with the exception of Drew Brees. He understands the way that press and roll coverages are being used against him to try to force him to stay inside the pocket. That is why I think, more than anything else, Mahomes gets mentioned in the GOAT discussion, but he's got to outduel Tom Brady today if he's still going to be in that discussion 4 or 5 years from now.
Can you guys believe that a year ago, after Mahomes won the Super Bowl, Vegas, and this is one of those, you ever have those bets? I don't think you're a betting guy, Lonzo. I know you are, Rob. You ever have those bets that presented themselves to you and you didn't take it? And you're like, why the hell did I not take this? Vegas set the over-under after the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year of future Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl wins at 1.5. And I was looking at that. Every time Vegas has a number that looks like it doesn't make sense, I end up saying, this doesn't make sense. You're wrong. And then I'm wrong, right? So I've learned not to take those bets, nor do I feel like waiting 15 years for a payout, right? But it was 1.5. The over-under of Super Bowls Mahomes would win after the first one. Guys, are they not going to be in the Super Bowl the next 5 years? I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, it's hard to see, and we'll get into that obviously after we see this one play out about who might be the next threat to Patrick Mahomes, and we'll get into that. So let me ask you this. We got this comment that I'm going to pop up on the screen from our buddy Brandon. Brandon says, I hope Tampa's up 26 before Mahomes makes one of his historic comebacks. If one of these two teams was to go down and you had to trust one of these two quarterbacks to lead a 2-touchdown comeback in the fourth quarter, you trust in Mahomes or you trust in Brady if you got to pick one?
You know
Brady
what?
all the way. Brady all the way.
I knew he would go with that, but you got to look at what Kansas City did last year and what they've done this year. I don't think there is any lead too great. The one game they lost to the Raiders, I don't count the last one because the starters didn't play. When they lost to the Raiders, it's because he didn't get back on the field. We've saw what they did last year. We've seen what they've done this year. I don't get nervous, and maybe I should. If they're down by 14 or down by 21, if there's still a quarter left, I'm not nervous because I trust Mahomes to come back. If Brady's down by 21, yeah, he's got a good shot at it, but I think Mahomes has the edge.
I'll tell you what.
And I'm wearing a Kansas City jersey, and Mark Ryan is wearing a Tampa Bay. So it's no surprise which way.
Pay no attention to our opinions. We're completely objective in this game, right?
Absolutely,
all the way. People gloss over the fact that Patrick Mahomes was actually bad in the Super Bowl last year for 3.5 quarters. He was bad. He had 2 interceptions. They couldn't get untracked against that San Francisco defensive line. He was bad. And then he went all Patrick Mahomes at the end. You know, we've glossed over that completely in our coverage going up to this year. But he does have that ability. He wouldn't have to have come back last year if he was good the first 3+ quarters, right? So we'll see how this plays out today, man. They've got an unbelievably electric offense with. This is what makes them so unstoppable. Not only do you have the Terminator at quarterback, you have Andy Reid's ingenuity and creativity on offense. Plus, then you have the ultimate man beater in Tyreek Hill, and you have the ultimate zone beater in Travis Kelce. So how do you beat a team that has brilliance at head coach, brilliance at quarterback, the ultimate man beater, and the ultimate zone beater? Good luck.
You know, we were talking earlier in the week and earlier in this broadcast about the Brady v. Mahomes GOAT thing. And I think, Mark, you just in a roundabout way nailed the reason that I have always said Brady is the GOAT. Brady has been successful his entire career. Basically, Brady goes to the Super Bowl every other season through the length of his entire career, right? He's year 20 and he's going to his 10th. I mean, it's almost exactly 50% of the time. And my argument about that for years has been Tom Brady has accomplished what every other quarterback wishes they could accomplish and done so surrounded by mediocre talent, right? I mean, with the exception of a couple of years where he had a Randy Moss or earlier in his career when he had like the Corey Dillon running back, for the most part, Tom Brady's always worked with inferior talent around him and still succeeded nonetheless. Patrick Mahomes, Lonzo, has the benefit of having an incredible lineup of talent built around him offensively, and he's going to have to rely on that today, especially knowing that Tampa Bay's defensive line has been incredible in this postseason and is going to get after him from start to finish.
You know, I saw an interview with Mahomes today, and he said he was talking about how he was in the perfect place with the perfect coach and the perfect players around him. That's not his fault. He's taken advantage of what's been given to him or where he was drafted. So, but just because you go there doesn't mean you're good enough to do something with it. We've seen really good quarterbacks or what we thought was good quarterbacks go to a situation and it not pan out. So it just he was the perfect guy for this situation, and he's been able to do what needs to be done. And I'm so glad he went to my team.
Let me ask you guys another question about the game today. Most important matchups to watch. I mean, we've got the names: Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce on the Chiefs side. Over on the other side, Rob Gronkowski, Godwin Evans. We've got talent. Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of the backfield for Kansas City. Mark Ryan, what's the number one matchup that makes the difference in the game today if you had to pick one?
Oh, this to me is an open and shut case, a no-brainer, Brown. It is the defensive line of Tampa Bay against the offensive line of Kansas City. For this very reason, the best quarterback in the NFL against the blitz is Patrick Mahomes. You blitz, you lose. That's just how it works, okay? It's the whole Terminator mindset thing, the way he sees the field. He's quicker than you. He's snappier than you. Good luck. So the Bucs are well equipped to give them hell in that matchup. You know, you have 4 potential Pro Bowl players on that defensive line. And Ndamukong Suh has rediscovered the fountain of youth. Vita Vea, star defensive tackle, they've gotten him back from injury. He was a big problem for Green Bay last week. Then on the edges, you have Jason Pierre-Paul and his 9 fingers, and you have Shaquille Barrett. And I'm telling you, any 4 of those guys are capable of a Pro Bowl season. They have what it takes to disrupt Patrick Mahomes. Now, having that and achieving that could be 2 different things, but that to me is the most interesting matchup. Can you consistently get pressure with 4?
All right. I was going to say, first of all, thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Jonathan on our Facebook page saying my setup is awesome, and it is. You're absolutely right. Well, I mean, it has nothing to do with humility. It's cool. I don't care whose house it's in. The matchups for me would be the Tampa Bay linebackers against Travis Kelce and the safeties. I mean, they've got to account for Travis Kelce at all times. It's not enough that you have to cover the receivers for Kansas City, but Kelce is the last line for Mahomes, and he seems to be able to find him from anywhere because he's faster than people think. He's obviously stronger once he catches the ball, and he's elusive. He knows his quarterback well enough. If he sees he's in trouble, he knows which direction to go to get open. And so I think it's the linebackers against Kelce.
You know, you guys have been very close to hitting exactly my 2. Mark Ryan, I'm going to start with you. Kansas City's missing not one but both of their starting offensive tackles in this game for injuries and COVID reasons. And Tampa Bay's defense starts and ends with their defensive ends, right? If you're Patrick Mahomes, you want that pocket to stay to keep its integrity on the outside so that you can extend plays outside it if you need to. Problem is the 2 guys that are in charge of making sure that that end of the pocket is set. You're looking at a pair of backups there, and the strength of Tampa Bay's defense starts and ends with the 2 guys that you just mentioned at the defensive end spot. If Kansas City wants to let Patrick Mahomes be Patrick Mahomes, they've got to win at the defensive end via offensive tackle on both sides of the football. And you got backups going against 2 guys that have absolutely figured it out during this postseason. But the other one I'm interested in, and Zoe just mentioned half of it, I want to see the numbers comparison at the end of the game between Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski, which Gronk has been relatively quiet during this postseason. But I go back to the Kansas City-Tampa Bay game in the regular season where Gronk had a 106-yard performance and was basically picking his spot on the field. Tom Brady needs Gronkowski to be the Gronkowski he thought he was bringing down from New England. If Gronk can have another 100-yard game, this game's going to end up being closer than we thought it might. At least up on the scoreboard. I think a lot of us have it as a tight game, but Rob Gronkowski has the opportunity to be a game breaker. It's no surprise that Travis Kelce he's that in every game. So the tight end v tight end matchup is going to be really interesting to me as well, guys. And I think we pretty much nailed it. It's going to be the offensive line of Kansas City versus the defensive line of Tampa, and it's going to be which one of those 2 quarterbacks is more capable of breaking the game open. If either one of them has a 100-yard day, it's going to give those quarterbacks a little bit of room to breathe.
You know, the other thing is this is going to be a shootout. All those things we're talking about are factors, and all those players can have big games. And it come down to the last play, which wouldn't surprise me if it comes down to the very last play in the game to decide who wins the Super Bowl.
And it's going to come down to the last play, Alonzo, and you're not going to be happy with it. All right, I'm just warning you right now. Okay, we're gonna keep that frown upside down. All right.
Let's jump into the MVP discussion. Now, this is probably the one that I think has the easiest answer for all 3 of us. So the question here is very simple: who wins your MVP? Mark Ryan, I'll let you hand out the trophy preemptively first.
You don't even have to ask, Rob. I'll let you answer for me.
It's TB12.
There you go. That's it. Open and shut case. I do think, guys, and maybe if there's one thing, doesn't this feel like in the red corner you have Mark, in the blue corner you have Alonzo, and
I should have worn stripes. I should have worn my stripes.
Rob is the referee here today. Maybe the point we all can agree on is that this is going to be, I think it's going to be a really, really good game. Really good game. I think Tom Brady wins it. Are we doing scores now, or are we saving those for later?
We'll save those for just a minute. Let's wrap up MVP, one or two other questions, then we'll give our final predictions on the way out.
Okay, sounds good. By the way, I hopped out for a minute there so I could share all of our stuff. I wanted to make sure I was retweeting that, put it on my Facebook page as well. So great to see all you guys, man. We're ready to go. By the way, who is the exclusive home of the Super Bowl in the Upstate? Who is the exclusive home? Right here. ESPN Upstate, baby. Coverage begins at 2 p.m. Coverage lasting until after 11 p.m. on only one station, the Upstate sports leader, ESPN Upstate.
And, of course, follow us on all our various social media channels, Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate. You can follow all three of us here on Twitter. I am at The Rob Brown Show, Mark Ryan at Mark Ryan on Air, MARC Ryan on Air, Lonzo at Lonzo on Word. We'll all be tweeting and Facebooking and posting throughout the game today. Zoe, same question to you, man, and I suspect the answer is going to be a mirror image of Mark Ryan. MVP award goes to ... question mark.
Well, I'm going to surprise you here because when we picked these earlier in the week, I changed my mind. I believe that the MVP is going to be the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. And here's what he's going to do. He's going to pick off a quarterback who is prone lately to throwing interceptions and going to get a pick six out of it. And I think that's going to we talked about, maybe the last team scoring winning the thing. I think it's going to be Tyrann Mathieu. I think the Honey Badger picks off Brady multiple times. He's got an eye for the ball. He's got tenacity. He has changed the defense for Kansas City. And if Kansas City gets any pressure on Brady at all, we've seen the last couple games, he gets nervous and he throws balls that he hasn't done in his career. If he does that now, Tyrann's going to get him and he's going to go to the house.
All right, so the Saints fan in me, and first off, I'm going to give my answer. It's very simple. It's the winning quarterback. All right, I'm gonna hedge my bets both ways. It's the winning quarterback. Brady wins it.
That's a cop out.
It's a hedge bet.
It's Switzerland. Get the hell out of here.
And if I may say so, the most impressive play of the day is I just got Lonzo and Mark Ryan to team up against something. So I'm just saying, strategy, baby. Let me ask you guys this question, and as a Saints fan, the answer to me is hell yes, they do. And I'll ask you the question after I've given you the answer. But we know that the narrative of this game has been Mahomes v. Brady. We know it's been, old man gets a shot, baby goat's trying to get this out. Earlier today, it was announced that the NFL is looking at really hammering down and issuing a lot of ramifications, regulations, consequences to the New Orleans Saints for violating COVID-19 restriction protocols. That team that caused games to be delayed. Oh, no, that was the Ravens and the Steelers, my bad. Or that team that had a bunch of people going out and having, nope, that was Tennessee, my bad. They have, as they have for years, I think, taken a pot shot at New Orleans. Now, the question that I have for you is, does the NFL push certain narratives? And if that is the case, do you think we might see some sort of, let's say, outside influence, a couple of bad calls, hedge one way or the other, the MVP given to one of these two quarterbacks, even if they don't have a stellar game when somebody else clearly stood out? Do you think the NFL will utilize their weight to push certain narratives in this game that might have an impact on the outcome of the game? I'll start with you, Lonzo.
This is tough because I've seen some plays that, I obviously have a dislike for one Tom Brady. So I believe, as do many like me, that sometimes he gets calls that go his way, and that the narrative is Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl as the oldest quarterback to win the Super Bowl. And if Tampa Bay wins, despite how bad he would play. He's going to win the MVP because of the story. And I hate how biased I sound, but you know what? I am that biased. Absolutely. There's a reason why I've worn a Kansas City shirt every day this week.
That's the first accurate thing you've said, Lonzo. That's the first accurate thing you said.
Thank you. Yeah, I do believe if there's a lean one way or the other, it's going to be towards making Tampa Bay win because they want Brady to win this thing as a 43-year-old.
Mark Ryan.
Guys, we shouldn't be so cynical in life. That's not healthy. That's not a healthy viewpoint.
You almost made me throw Cheerwine all over my laptop with that comment, Mark.
Listen, man.
How could you not? Cheerwine is
listen, cynicism. You guys are all like Tim Donaghy, the Super Bowl here today. That's very, very unhealthy. It's very unhealthy. Do I think the NFL is in cahoots with the officials to turn the game in the favor of Tom Brady? No! Come on! No! I'm offended at the question. No! There is no pressure. There is none of this. I mean, give me a break, guys. You don't believe these officials are going to call the game accurately and fairly? Now, look, does a LeBron James get a call? Not consciously, but subconsciously, yes, because he's earned respect over 16 years, right? Does Tom Brady sometimes get favorable calls? Perhaps, but it's not a conscious decision. Hey, a call from Roger Goodell. What is it? What is this, man? Is this a mafia deal here? There's a call coming down. There's a call coming down from Roger Goodell. Sweep the leg in the last 30 seconds. No, it's not going to happen.
What's that called? An IMB? Is that called an IMB? The things that they wear?
Yep.
I believe they all, at least the head referee or the umpire or whatever, has an IMB. And wouldn't shock me if he's getting that call down. All right, it's time.
So I have said for many, many years, I absolutely think that the NFL has preferred outcomes. It's not to say that they directly go out there and rig the game, but they have preferred outcomes. You will never, no matter what you say, forever and always convince me that the NFL didn't want the LA Rams to go to the Super Bowl against the Patriots a couple of years ago, and that's why that pass interference call that went uncalled wasn't immediately changed sight unseen, when even the defensive back that did it on the field said, yeah, that was a pass interference. I don't know why they didn't call it. That was because Roger Goodell worked his ass off to get a team into LA. He finally did it, and the NFL wanted a team from LA in that Super Bowl to celebrate. They got their wish. They love them some Tom Brady, which they should. I think Tom Brady was the number one seller of jerseys this year. They know where the bread gets buttered. So I think Mark, I'm fine with it calling it. Perhaps it's a subconscious decision because they've heard how much that storyline matters to them. But I think there is absolutely a chance that Chiefs fans at the end of the night may have one or two things to complain about. All right. Let's get to it. We've been hanging out for a while. I know we've got a bunch of people watching. By the way, if you guys send in comments when we are doing these live streams, we can actually pop them up onto the screen and react to them in real time. So if you got any questions for Lonzo, myself, or Mark or Ryan, send us a comment in on any of the platforms that you're watching on. They'll pop up for us. We can read them on the air. With that being said, fellas, I guess it's about that time. Let's go ahead and give final scores, previews, predictions. What do you see going down tonight? Who's holding the Lombardi at the end of the night? Mark Ryan, you're up.
All right. The score is going to be 36-34 Tampa Bay. Last and late minute drive by Tom Brady to seal the deal. And I think it's going to be a barn burner type of game. I think it's going to be nip and tuck. I think we're going to be talking about this potentially as the greatest Super Bowl ever played when it is all and done, not just because of the narrative surrounding it, but I think the game is going to be that good and that compelling. I think Tampa Bay, people never underestimate what it's like to be in your home stadium, sleeping in your own bed. That matters. And they're not going to be firing the cannons after Tampa Bay scores a touchdown because of this guise of neutrality. But that is a big factor here. I'm tied into the Tampa community. I just can't tell you the feeling of Tampa Bay playing at home. There's an unbelievable energy there, and I think the good guys are going to figure out a way to get it done.
Lonzo?
I didn't want to jump in until you said my name. All right, so here's what it's going to be. It's going to be Kansas City 34-28. Tom Brady will have the ball in the final drive. He's going to be driving down the field. It looks like he's got a chance for a touchdown. He's going to throw that pick to Tyrann Mathieu.
Could you imagine if this Super Bowl was to get lost on a Tom Brady interception, Mark Ryan, what the reaction to that would be?
So you realize what just happened here. Lonzo and I have the exact same score with a minute to go in the game.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we've got the exact same score. It's 34-28 Kansas City with a minute to go in the game. We're just writing the end of the movie differently. You know, you have the alternate ending.
So I'm going to tell you this. I like the way that you guys have set this up. Ironically enough, I'm riding with Mark Ryan on this one. I am done betting against Brady. I've been saying this all week. I have been watching Lonzo's eyes roll backwards like a slot machine in his head every time I say it.
Never seen that before.
Yeah. I am tired of betting against Tom Brady in big games. All week long. In fact, back during the divisional round, the week of the Saints-Buccaneers game, I came on the air and I picked the Saints, but then immediately said, but we're going to get Tom Brady. We're going to get Brady. He's going to find a way to win this game. And Lonzo told me that was the game he was most confident in his pick of Tom Brady going down and Drew Brees winning. And I said on the air, when we come back on Monday and when Tampa Bay has eliminated the New Orleans Saints, I will be here to accept the apology. That's what happened. The next week, NFC Championship game, Tom Brady's going up to Green Bay on the air. I said, I'm going to pick Green Bay on paper, but I'm going to tell you Tom Brady's going to win this game. Lonzo said, no chance. And his eyes rolled back like the sevens on a slot machine again. And I said, when we come back in on Monday and Tom Brady's on his way to Super Bowl number 10, I'll accept that apology. It happened again. I am tired of betting against Tom Brady in big games. We've all been doing it his entire career, and his entire career he has been taking those games and cramming them right back down our throat. I won't make that mistake again. I agree with both of you. This will be an incredibly tight game. It will be a very close game late in the fourth quarter. But we'll go back to a question we said earlier. Who do you trust to have the football with a win riding in their hands alone? And to me, the answer after this long in his career is Tom Brady, especially with the weapons that he has. A little bit different score, but the same play out. I'm taking, by the way, over under this game, 55.5, what seems a little low to me, to tell you the truth. I'm looking at two teams easy in the 30s. I'm taking this one, Mark Ryan. I'm going to go, I think I said on the air, 45-42. Tom Brady barely escapes Patrick Mahomes, but wins the Lombardi and the Super Bowl MVP when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I look, Rob. I'm telling you, this is why you're brilliant. That take is why you're brilliant, sir. That's exactly what it's going to be. And this is not a disrespect to Andy Reid or the brilliance of Patrick Mahomes or a lack of acknowledgement for their weapons, but missing their two tackles is going to loom large in this game. It is going to impact what they want to do offensively. You know, if you're elite on the offensive side of the ball, what do you have to be on the defensive side of the ball? You have to be good enough. Well, this Chiefs team has been good enough. They're 16th, right in the middle of the pack defensively. That's the difference between this Chiefs team and all the Tony Gonzalez years, right? They're good enough defensively to win this game. That's what makes it so compelling, guys. We are the beneficiaries. Everyone watching are the beneficiaries of this crowning achievement of sports that we are going to get today, and it is going to be glorious.
Lonzo, parting words.
I'm a nervous wreck. I didn't think I would be, but I am. Doing this has made me more nervous, which is why you will notice my attention every once in a while. I've been playing a game the entire time we've been talking. It's because I have to do something with my hands. Here's my controller right here, just to prove it. And I'm gonna go back to doing that till game time. If I am so fidgety right now, and I thought I was gonna be calm and cool, but I'm not. So I'm looking forward to this game. And man, I don't want to be wrong because I'm gonna hear about it forever. That's the bad part about this.
Tom Brady's coming for you. He's coming for you, Lonzo.
He'll retire someday. Hopefully.
Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Remember, we're going to be posting throughout the game this evening. You can follow all three of us on Twitter. Lonzo Onward. Marc Ryan, M-A-R-C, on air. I am at The Rob Brown Show. Plus, follow all of our social media accounts at ESPN Upstate. We'll be breaking the game down in real time as it goes. Of course, we are your home for the Super Bowl on the radio at 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. And, of course, on Monday, noon to 3, The Rob Brown Show with me and Lonzo. 3 to 7, Marc Ryan and Diesel will be on Offsides. And on Monday, we'll have the full breakdown of the game.
Where's Diesel?
Diesel's at the gym. His words were, "It's more important for me to fill out my Schmedium t-shirt than it is to spend time with the listeners." That's a quote. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, that sounds like him.
Fellas, good breakdown. Kind of like this new little program we're rolling with, so we'll have to do this more often, and we'll see you guys back on the air on Monday.